Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have a speed build for you today. Today I am building a new home for Prue, the yellow generation of my Not So Berry challenge, and so that is what we have uploaded today. I started the build off by going into their original house and taking out things that had like personal meaning to them. Like I took the rocket ship and I took some of the pictures that they had taken. Like there were some pictures on the wall of Caitlin and Destiny. Caitlin does still have in her inventory all of like the selfies that she took with the people that she kissed and that she went out with when she was working on fulfilling her requirements for her goal set and for her aspiration. But we don't have those out anymore because she has married Destiny and has settled down with her. And Prue in our last episode became a young adult, and so I thought that this was a good time to build them a new home. Now we did move them out of Newcrest and into Oasis Springs, and that is because one of Prue's goals for her generation is to visit the hidden lot in Oasis Springs. So I thought if we actually lived in Oasis Springs, it would make things a little bit easier. And so this is the home that I built for them. You can see now I've got the floor plan done in the exterior, and now I'm just doing the roofing. I tried to make this house kind of look like the homes in the area, so it's got more of a modern feel to it. But if I'm completely honest with you, I don't necessarily like the way the outside of the house looked. I think it's kind of ugly, and as I'm building it, I'm going, oh, this is ugly. This is so ugly. But it didn't feel, it just didn't work to have like a more traditional kind of style home with like, you know, the peaked roof and all of that. It didn't really work with what were the homes around them. So the exterior I tried to base off of the homes around them. I think really the thing that made it not appeal to me a lot is the fact that it's yellow. But there is no helping that because it's the yellow generation and it needed to be yellow because Prue is yellow, and I had a hard time finding an exterior that I liked. Just traditional yellow siding didn't really fit with, again, the feel of the neighborhood that they are in. They're in, I think, not the more upper scale area of Oasis Springs, like where the Calientes live, and it's not like the starter home area, but it's kind of that middle ground. That's where we put this house. We could have made something so much bigger on such a bigger lot. We had so much money and so much funds, but I don't necessarily like playing in gigantic houses, and especially for a Let's Play, it just seemed like smaller was better for that. So I've built the outside. I've kind of got that as happy as I'm going to make it, and now I'm working on furnishing the house, and I'm starting with a kitchen. And even though it's like a modern style on the outside, I felt like the yellow swatch for the country kitchen kit was perfect for this, and I went with it. It just felt too right, and I liked the yellow. I thought it was really cute, and it went with, you know, Prue being the yellow generation. So even though the outside of the house is more modern, the kitchen is really more country and stuff like that. And I started this off with an open floor plan, but then as I did the kitchen, it just felt too open, like it was too big of a room. So I did close it off and just put an arch to go from the living room into the kitchen. And I even ended up making the kitchen a little bit smaller because it felt too big for me. Like there was too much counter space, which sounds crazy because in real life, right, you can never have too much counter space, but it just felt like it was too much empty space that I was gonna have to fill, and too much of the same. What's one thing with like the country kitchen cupboards is you have too many of them in a row and it kind of looks a little weird. So I shrunk it down and I made it smaller. I did put in an island. I had a little bit of fussing, which I deleted because it was a long time of fussing with the island and the table, but I ended up going with just that round table with a few of the yellow chairs. So it does have a very country feel to it. And I'd forgotten about this wallpaper that came with the country kitchen pack. So I used that stone for like behind like the kitchen part of it. And then I just used a light yellow paint for the rest. So I've got the furniture down in the kitchen. So I'm moving on to the living room now. This is a very yellow house. It's like, that's one thing with the Not So Berry challenge, is it has you like use colors that you would not normally use. Like I wouldn't probably decorate a house in yellow, but it works for this. I really fussed a lot with the sofas, trying to get the spacing the way that I wanted. Like it just wasn't lining up, and I used the Paranormal stuff pack for the kitchen or for the living room because I really like that sofa. It's cute and they're nice and they look really comfortable, and I just wish that we had more swatches for that. And I used a Paranormal stuff pack chair that I kind of put over there in the corner, and the same thing with the coffee table. And I was going to use the Paranormal wallpaper, but it was like too yellow in there. I was like, oh no, it can't be this. So I went for a softer, more muted color of yellow. The build itself does end up being, it's 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but then there's an office space. And I'm not sure when the 4th generation, which is the gray generation, might be arriving. I kind of have a game plan in my head for how I want this to go, so I'm not sure when that will happen. So one of the rooms obviously belongs to Caitlin and Destiny, and then the other is Prue's, and then we have the office. And my thought process behind that was, when the gray generation arrives, we'll either convert the office, if Destiny and Caitlin are still with us, into a nursery for the gray generation. If they're not with us, then we'll probably convert their bedroom into the gray gen's bedroom. I'm not sure how many kids we'll have in the gray generation, so this gives us wiggle room. Like we've got 2 extra rooms that can act as bedrooms. And of course, with the amount of funds that we have, it's not like it would be completely unreasonable to like build a new house or do an addition or anything like that. So I'm putting furniture in Prue's bedroom at the moment, and her bedroom is kind of like off towards the back of the house, which felt appropriate since she is a loner, so her room is kind of like out away from everything. It is off the kitchen, but if you think, you know, most living will be happening in the living room and the office area, she's kind of away from that, and her bathroom separates her from Caitlin and Destiny's room. And so I thought that was just kind of fit along with her personality. And of course, you know, we've got the rocket ship with us, and I do decorate the builds with the pictures that they had taken. So, you know, there's the ones of Caitlin and Destiny, and then there's the picture of Prue and Paolo, which I kind of went back and forth on where I wanted to put that picture, and it ends up going in Prue's room. And then I also put in like some of these knitted things, some career rewards from space, the astronaut career that Prue has earned so far. She's not very far in that career, but she's gotten a few things. So I put those sorts of things around. And then I come outside and I'm decorating, and I completely forgot, because this took me like probably 3 hours over 3 days to build this place, which isn't super quick, but because I had specific Sims in mind, I think that slowed me down a little bit. And the fact that I had no budget, really. I mean, we had, I think, like 270 simoleons coming into this build, so there was essentially no budget for it. So it took me a while. And so when I came back in to work on the landscaping and whatnot, I forgot to make it day because it was nighttime in the game. So it's all dark as I'm landscaping, and then I was like, oh, it's dark. I need to make it daylight so I can see what I'm doing. And it's winter, so everything looks gross and dead. But I do landscaping, again, trying to keep with the feel that is in Oasis Springs. And going with more deserty, almost sometimes even tropical in some ways, with like the palm trees and whatnot. So that's the decoration, or excuse me, the landscaping that I do outside. And of course, we brought with us Mary and Paolo's headstones, so they're here with us too. And I'm just working on outside a little bit. I went with one table outside, and then I was like, this is way too big. We don't have enough Sims for something this large. So we went with just a smaller table. There's not a lot going on in the backyard because there's a gigantic rocket ship. But I did put the rocket ship in. I did put like a seating area outside. There's a lot of places that they could like sit and eat, because there's the island with the stools at the island, there's the table, and then there's an outdoor table. So who knows where they will end up going. You never know with Sims. They kind of wander all over the place. So I'm putting in just a few more things. Like I wanted to put in Paolo's treadmill. I brought that with me. And I also added a workbench, the wood carving station, because one of Prue's goals for her generation is to max the handiness skill, and that raises the handiness skill. So I put that there. And now I'm just kind of going in and decorating and cluttering things up a little bit, using a lot of the things from the Country Kitchen kit, and then just moving around. And I edited out a lot of scrolling as I was trying to decide what I wanted to include. I spent a long time cluttering this house up to make it look lived in. So it's maybe a little bit more cluttered than some of my other homes, but still not as cluttered as some people make theirs. And I'm fine with that. Totally fine with that. I am really enjoying this Let's Play, and I'm excited to play more with it and just kind of see how things are going to go and how things are going to progress. I don't know how much time we will have left with Caitlin and Destiny, as they are both elders, and neither one of them has the long-lived trait. You know, we kind of got a little bit spoiled with Paolo because he had that trait, and he lived for a long time. Like, he died just before Caitlin became an elder. So he was around for quite a while. I don't think Caitlin and Destiny are going to be with us for quite as long. That's why I was saying I wasn't sure if the Great Gen would be here yet when they were still alive, or if they might have passed by then. I think it's entirely possible that they could pass before Great Gen arrives. Because like I said, I kind of have something in mind that I want to do, and so it just depends on how all of that ends up working out. So I put in a couple of these shelves, and I cluttered those up a little bit with some various kitchen things. I know there were more kitchen items in the clutter stuff that I just, you scroll through it enough times, and then you just your eyes start to kind of go cross-eyed, and you start missing things. And so I just left it alone as it was. And I wanted to go in and put in some plants, so I put in the hanging plant from Paranormal Stuff. I really wish we had more hanging plants, because they're a good way to put in plants but without using floor space. So I do wish that we had a little bit more of that. And I did go in and add that cork board into the area, and I put a couple of curtains in just on these big windows, but I have some of those more modern, short, long windows that, I couldn't really find a curtain that worked well with those. So there's not a lot going on with curtains in this home because they just didn't work. I decorate with as much space themed stuff as possible, because part of the backstory for Prue and the Yellow generation is that she's like obsessed with space. So I use a lot of space prints. There's the space mobile. You will have seen in the office I put like the poster of the woman on the rocket ship, which is a little bit weird of a poster if I'm honest, but I put it in there. And then there's like that space kind of light that came from the astronaut career that's hanging in there. I put in a hanging plant thing that Caitlin had knit, and I'm just kind of trying to decorate the office a little bit and make it look a little bit more, lived in and comfortable and cozy. And yeah, I'm happy with how, I really am happy with how the build ultimately ended up turning out. I think that my building skills from when I built the pink or the rose gen house have definitely improved quite a bit, and I'm pleased with how it turned out. I'm definitely still overwhelmed with everything in the build by catalog, and I think that's going to be the case for quite a while. And yeah, nothing real spectacular about the bathrooms. Like I said, there's 2 bathrooms. They both have a shower in them. This one just has a shower stall, but the other one that's off Caitlin's bedroom does have a tub with it. It's a little bit bigger. So I put, you know, a plant in here. And I end up using this fern plant, and I really get a little bit frustrated with that plant because I like the plant. I think it's a pretty plant, but it's so large that it kind of clips into walls, and it's a little bit difficult to place. But I had the space in the corner there that it ended up working. So now I'm going in and decorating up Prue's bedroom, and I did quite a bit of clutter actually on her dresser, which I don't know how fitting that is with Prue's personality, to be completely honest with you. I was just playing with it quite a bit. I was a little bit frustrated because one thing about like the photographs that your Sims take is they don't like rest on things. They either have to be on the wall or they're just in one position and you can't move them around a whole lot. And yes, I did put in an X-Wing and the Millennium Falcon because Prue has her obsession with space, and so it just felt like it worked for Prue. So those are in there. And now I'm just decorating Caitlin and Destiny's room. I did bring some things with me, or use some of the same things that I had in her room, you know, back at the old house, which I thought was probably fitting that she would still have some of her same decorations and that she would just bring them with her and not get all new things. They do have a new bed though. This is an eco lifestyle bed that I really liked, and I thought it kind of suited them as being elders. It's not quite as fancy. It looks a lot more comfy and cozy, and I think, you know, they're getting on in life and it's just works a little bit better for them with their style. So like I said, just kind of finishing up the decorating and putting things around. I did upload this to the gallery if you are interested in it. I did take out things like the painting, or not the paintings, the photographs and the gravestones, and I do use a custom content portrait that allows you to have like their portrait and it changes on the wall. So I took out all of that stuff, so it is not, there's no CC in what I uploaded to the gallery. It does use quite a few packs, but it is up on the gallery if you are interested in it. My origin ID is Heathwyn, just like my YouTube ID, and now we are going into the screenshots of the home. So I'm gonna leave you there to enjoy those. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will talk to you again soon.